Hello, Ryan Garland. I am your host of the Paradyme Shift. I cannot wait to expose the true inner depths of institutional wealth building and how to dig deep into real estate investing. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm excited to announce a new partnership with a gentleman by the name of Brad DeVette. He is going to give you guys a little background about him, but he is our framer on our Family Office Society building. We're extremely excited to introduce you to him in our network because he has a unique background. But I think it's really important for you guys to understand what it is that we're ultimately doing and who it is that we align with to develop our projects and the caliber of these type of individuals. So Brad, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And before we start, we are sponsored by PMG. They are the gentlemen that are in the group that is doing all of our structural steel for the majority of our projects here in Lake Havasu. And they were kind enough to provide us with this amazing podcast table that we're sitting here today. So Brad, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your background and then we'll go dive deep into the Family Office Society. And I know you have a little story that you almost died on this project. So you're going to have to share it. And that's just the way this is going to go. But
all right.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your background and start from there. Because I think I spent a little time with you. I enjoyed hearing more of your backstory. And I think our audience wants to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I just want to say thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for having me on today. And I knew it was coming from the day I met you and talked to Ryan and Dennis and some of the guys. You know, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're going to be on the podcast one day." I'm like, "All right, well." I had plenty of time to prepare, you know. So no,
and then I called you last week saying, "Hey, dude, what are you doing on this day? Can you come in?" You're like, "Yes, I'll go."
Yeah, of course. So, no, just thanks for having me and thanks for the opportunity. You know, my background is I started in traditional real estate, really, when I got out here. I moved out here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the East Coast, when I was 20.
So my hat's perfect.
Yeah. So the hat that you wear every day is money. I
Love
mean,
it.
It's perfect. Yes.
You knew we're going to be friends right out the gate.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm like, but this guy probably is not a Pirate fan, you know?
All the way out in Havasu on the West Coast? No way.
Yeah. So, but, so when I got out here, I was 20. I moved out here from Pittsburgh and, I got into sales pretty much right away. I wasn't sure what I was going to get into, what I was going to do. I actually got into construction right away. That was the first thing I did.
And you were 20?
Yeah, because that's what I grew up doing. My dad's a contractor, was in construction his whole life, just retired last year. And so I knew I could get a construction job right away.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I did that. And I happened to meet a buddy of mine that I'm still good friends with today. Well, why don't you come sell cars with us? Like, never sold cars, And so he's like, I can get you in. I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. And I ended up doing that for 5 years. And that sort of gave me some structure and some foundation, sort of what I needed at that time in my life. And it was like a real job. The construction jobs as growing up as a kid, you're a labor guy or, you'd miss a day. You just weren't as dialed, right? So I got in and sort of got some structure and started to get a foundation and wow, this is pretty cool. I get to meet different people every day. And that's why I love the sales side of my business today, right?
Yeah.
You have to develop those relationships. You have to make friends. And you have to, you have to be available. So I learned a lot early on as far as that goes. So yeah, that was how I got sort of started in Havasu. Did that for about 4.5, 5 years. After that, I said, you know what? I need a transition. I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for a change. It's not quite what had happened was I had a year after being in Havasu, I met my wife. And
so she made you level up.
Well,
no,
yeah.
You wanted to level up because you wanted to marry her. That's what it was.
Yeah, she was the one no one can get. I'm like, I love a challenge.
And she was probably real pretty in a bikini at the time, so you were stuck.
She still is. There
you go.
So so we ended up. I ended up meeting my wife, and she ended up getting pregnant about fairly quick. We were together I was out here maybe a year. She got pregnant within probably a year, 9 months to a year.
Yeah, my first wife, it was like 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
same lane.
And I was young at that time. I was younger. I was 22 at the time, 21. So what was happening is I was working a lot, right? You have to sort of grind it out. If you don't sell, you don't eat.
Yep.
Right. And that was how it went. And, hey, you going to be home for dinner? Yeah, I'll be home. It's when we get off at 7, and then someone rolls in and I'm there at 9, and it just happened over and over and over. And she's pregnant and the baby's born. That was my daughter, who's now going to be a senior this coming year. And,
she can be going to school with Shane, my eldest. Yep.
Yep. So I needed a pivot. I needed a transition. I said, I can't do this. Not for me anymore. I learned a lot. I made some really good relationships. I got a really good foundation started, and that's when I pivoted into real estate.
And traditional real estate sales.
Yeah, so just traditional real estate. Went to real estate school, got my real estate license, which I still hold today.
Yep.
So it's a tougher license to get, so I didn't want to let it go, so I still use it, and I still have it, and so that's what I did. So I did traditional real estate I left the car business in 2010. Okay. Went to real estate school. Took me about 6 months to get everything finalized and done, got my license. So I left in 11. So in 12, I got my license, 2012. So I did that for about 5 years, traditional real estate, representing buyers, sellers. Then we started to, the investment side of making money is always interests me, right? And so, of course. So then we started to pivot into real estate investing, buying and selling real estate, buying, rehabbing. We did a handful of properties over about 5 years, about 4 or 5 years.
Fix and flips type stuff? Yep.
Yeah, fix and flips. And it was really good. It was really good. We enjoyed it. We were sort of...
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's totally rewarding.
Well, and
you're making money.
We were making money. Sort of, at that point, you sort of work for yourself. And I always, when I was 18, if I go back a couple years before I left Pittsburgh, I started my first detail shop when I was 18 years old. Cool. And so I had my own shop and literally rented a shop. As soon as I turned 18, I got the old man. It was in a bottom. It was a 3-story in an old area out, right side in Pittsburgh. And it was a 3-story old school building, real estate office. I've rented his basement. So anyway, so it has always interested me. At that point, it was more one of those things where you sort of start working for yourself. That was like my transition. To get into sort of doing my own thing, working for myself.
Yeah, you enjoy being self-employed.
Yeah,
kind of controlling your own destiny, if you will.
100%.
Yep.
So, so that was that, and then after we started to get the inventory started to get harder to find. It was in 08.
Dude, 08, man.
Yeah.
That gave me anxiety when you said that date.
Well, and in 2000, even in 2011, 2012, when I was going through real estate school and getting my license and getting everything set up, I mean, there was hundreds of foreclosures.
No. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Thousands.
Yeah. I mean, in our town.
Yeah.
And it just got harder and harder as the market corrected. Things started to trend the other way. It just got harder and harder to find property. And then you had a lot more competition in it too.
Yeah.
There was a lot more people that thought they can buy and sell, and so we had a lot more competition. So that's when I pivoted into the building side again.
And then you said you started the actual. So you've been doing construction though, on and off, and so you pretty much had your own construction division. But then you decided to kind of go all in.
Yes.
And that was how long ago?
That was 4 years ago.
And that's when you kind of started your own, really went all in on all GC side.
Yes.
Yeah. But you've really kind of you've really created a niche for yourself on the framing side.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's all sort of just worked out the way, and we've sort of just driven this vehicle that way, you know, and we sort of just have honed in on it and pushed it and marketed it. And
would you agree that you think that your growth really had to do with your leadership skills? And the reason I bring that up is because the labor force out here is hard to find. and you've been continuing to increase as far as staffing. And I would consider you one of the larger framers out here, if not the largest player here.
I tend to I think so, just because I put a lot of attention to it. Every guy that works for me, I don't take him for granted. And it's tough to find guys, and you got to take good care of them. You got to speak to them correctly. You got to treat them correctly. You got to pay them well.
Yeah.
You got to give them 40 hours a week. All the different things that, that I do pride myself on to bring these guys on. And I've developed a reputation of guys want to come work for me.
Mm-hmm. What's crazy is when I came out here and I really started doing our first development, there was a common theme, and I hope I don't get shot for this, but the guys that I had hired originally, I realized that the ones that the owners of the companies, they weren't in essence putting on their nail bags anymore, right? They're kind of running the show. But when you look at their labor, especially how hot it is out here, some of these guys are older, they're tired, they're moving slower. I get it. But the owners aren't really there to create the momentum and the standard of labor and speed, all of that stuff. What I caught my attention was when I talked to Nick at London Bridge, Electric, when I brought him in, he was so like, hey, listen, I do residential. I've been wanting to get into commercial. I'll go expand my commercial license. Give me an opportunity. So I give him an opportunity. He goes, I will staff up on everybody I need, but I can hear it in his voice. He's serious. He's like, I will grow the company.
100%.
So he came in, and I had another electrical contractor, and I'm gonna spill the beans, dude. I actually made them compete. So I had one electrical contractor already. Now, mind you, he was a sub at the time, so I had a different. You probably know the story. I had it. Do you hear about the story? Because it's kind of spread through it's spread through the industry. They're like, I don't know if I like Ryan or if he's an asshole or whatever, but look, I got a job to do, right?
Sure.
And so he started with the original electrical contractor started on one side of the building. I brought Nick on, and like within 2 days, Nick did. And the amount of units, basically wired and completed the amount of units that the other guy did in 2 weeks. And that was an easy decision to make. And I said, dude, okay, I can have all of this done in like a week now, knowing he can just bang out the rest of this building. So that's when I kind of went all in with Nick. And then Nick, I kept just kind of grilling, but Nick was out there pulling line too. So I caught that his labor force was really kind of in that younger crowd. He had the right guys. They were excited to be a part of Paradyme. Our branding and marketing's insane. They're like, I want to be a part of it. So that really helped, I think, too. Sure. And then Nick just blew up. And then now Nick's just expanded. I put him on the podcast as well. I'm actually going to have him come back out.
I can barely get him on my jobs.
He's busy, man. He showed up this morning. I'm like, oh man, all right, cool. Because we had Joe.
I saw him.
I shot Joe this morning at Dover, which is the one you framed, obviously. But yes. I had Joe there because I'm like, Joe, we're going to do all your marketing stuff, so we need to run all the electrical. And it was cool because he's like, I'll be there for that, so he can make sure that everything's exactly what we need to open this up and do it right with what we're trying to do. And so anyways, I thought that was really cool. He kind of started that. And then Aaron, HVAC.
Yeah.
Hot Solutions. He actually, I had a couple other HVAC guys here, and he was actually doing my father's. And what it was is Eric, our broker, hit one of his agents. That's her boyfriend. Now they're married and have a kid, but that was her boyfriend at the time. And somehow, some way, Eric's like, well, let me just introduce you to this guy and see what he did. So I came into my father's unit, and I'm like, yeah, he's doing a really good job. Like, I really like it. We're actually in it right now. And I'm like, I really like the way that he did this, and he did it quick, and he's very professional. And I could tell he was telling me his backstory, and he asked me, he's like, give me a shot. And I'm like, okay. And so, but he has his nail bags on. These are the guys that are actually still doing the work. Yeah. And which is going to lead into the conversation you and I do, because you were doing some work.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of neat to see how the groups that are actually growing are the guys that are still going out there and working side by side with their guys. They're the first one there. They're the last one to leave. Their leadership skills is polished because they're actually treating their employees, in essence, like they're human beings. They're not just hiring some guys that are just jumping around and, have kind of been gone through the circuit out here. Like, you can tell that these guys are like, look, there's a whole new standard that we're bringing into Lake Havasu. And there's some serious money coming in here. There's some serious growth. We see the potential. We want to be serious about our business, and we're going to fucking do what it takes to deliver. Yes. And that's what I've seen out of everybody that we've circled up with, including you. And that's why you're here. You're by far one of the best I've actually dealt with in that space. And I want to just give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
But it's that common theme that I was talking about is the guys that are running the businesses are still putting on their nail bags.
Mm-hmm.
And even like plumbing, these guys are the owners out there running plumbing. I'm like, these guys are the real guys that are going to deliver and give us the right, and deliver on time, which is hard to get. And the ones that are doing it all right and communicating, just doing everything right, are the guys that are still, on the boots on the ground with their team. And I really respect that. And I really respect that about you.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
With that said, I know you got a story for me.
I got a good one.
So, all right. So tell us the story. I know you were hesitant to say it, and I'm like, okay, well, as long as you don't say anything that's out of compliance on the podcast, I think we're good. So we don't have to tell too many secrets.
It's definitely in compliance with the podcast, but I don't.
Don't worry about it, man. So yeah, so because we were talking about, just for our audience to know, we were talking about kind of the crazier the stories we can share that are like within the trade. It's kind of crazy to hear some of these stories because the guy that we had on yesterday, which we haven't released the podcast yet, he did Jeff Epstein's freaking pool. And we're like, wait, what? You did whose pool?
Right.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's just hone in on that one, So we just have some really cool guests, and we want our audience to hear some of these stories to show just the realness behind what it is we do and who's all involved in Paradyme's brand,
100%. Yeah.
All right. So what you got? Because you haven't even told me.
No.
Yeah, I haven't even heard what you had to say.
If it wasn't for Joe, we wouldn't be talking about
Joe
it.
pulled it out of you, man.
He's the one. It's his fault.
Joe, it's all your fault, man. Damn it, Joe.
So anyway, we the Paradyme building has a very unique roof system, as you know, right? With the red built roof.
There's nothing out here like it.
The commercial style, industrial style, 4 foot on center, 3 foot tall, red built, LVL top and bottom cord, trusses, very unique, right? So we get the all the trusses rolled, get all the beams up, and it's time to sheet the roof. So we did make a change on that. We were going to use typical 1/2 inch OSB. We decided to go to 3/4. There were some structural things that we worked through, and so anyway, we decided to go with the 3/4 inch OSB. So we were behind. I felt I needed to get out there with the guys and
hence the testament to what I was just saying earlier.
Be right next to them, throwing 3/4 inch sheets of OSB. It's
not light.
It's not light, and it's not the funnest in 110 degrees, right? Well, it was a little cooler then, but so anyway.
Hey Joe, by the way, real quick, make sure you put the clip. Remember when I was helping him? Were you there when we were doing the video, Joe? Remember when we were on site and you guys were putting a wall up?
Yeah, he helped. He was right next to me.
So make sure you get that clip in here so everyone can see it on the. He
built part of the building.
I lifted up. You guys looked at my biceps and said, "You know what? This guy can help us lift this wall up. It's hot. We need help."
But then you left. We're like, "What's up, dude?"
I looked down. I was like, "No." I looked down. I'm like, "No, my luck, I'll fall." You heard what I did with my leg, which I'll tell that story later.
I saw you on a cart, but I don't know the story.
my knee scooter. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so keep going, please.
So anyway, I decided it was a good idea for me to get the bags on and throw 3/4 inch OSB with the guys. So part of throwing the sheets is making sure when we're pulling layout we stay square, and so as we pull a 4x, as we put a 4x8 sheet of plywood down, we're shifting the trusses to stay square with our build as we build out. So I had one of the guys nailed a sheet. I'm like, it's off layout like a 1/4 inch, not a big deal. And didn't really affect anything, and it should have never been touched. We should have just rolled with it, right?
Yep.
I'm like, nope. Since it was me, I was like, go ahead and pull those nails. Let's shift it. Freaking 3/16 of an inch. Let's go ahead and shift it. So sure enough, we do. The reason it was nailed is because he nailed it off on his own and he couldn't get the truss moved. Right. So sometimes they're tough to move. So you need a second set of hands. And so he got it as close as he could to layout and pinned it. Nailed it. I don't like it. Move it. So pulls the nails. Well, I had already had a sheet down. So I kicked the sheet out of the way, or just slid the sheet sort of out of the way, maybe 6 to 8 inches, so we can get a cat's paw in there, a tool that we use to pull the nails, right? So I kicked the sheet out like 6, 8 inches, and didn't dawn on me that the sheet wasn't nailed off. So he pulled the nails, and I was the one that decided I was going to try to shift the truss. So when I went to brace myself to shift the truss, he had a nail gun in his hand ready to pin it. When I went to shift the truss, that sheet of plywood slipped out from underneath.
Oh man!
And I fell through the trusses.
Dude, what? Where was it? Where were you?
I know. I'll show you. I know
okay.
exactly.
I'm sure you do.
I know exactly where I was.
Because I can picture it. Obviously, I just don't know exactly where it is.
So I fell through the trusses and I caught myself on the way down.
Shut up! By one hand?
2 hands. I was able to. Happen so fast,
dude. Are you serious?
I swear.
Hey Joe, for our audience to see this, make sure you go shoot a video of how tall that is, because he needs to see that. And if you didn't have those trusses set up that way, you probably wouldn't have caught it.
Well,
did you catch it on the top or the bottom?
So my guys that saw it happen said we've never seen a guy catch himself like that off a roof.
That was the Lord catching you, buddy.
That was the man upstairs.
You have kids to get home to,
dude,
and a wife that you really enjoy.
I was like, to this moment, it changed I can
see in your eyes.
It changed things. You know,
sure.
it was because if I don't die, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's wheelchair bound. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's 25 foot in the air.
Yeah, that's not joke. It's no joke, dude. Yeah, for sure. That's
over 2 stories.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that unfortunately that we deal with in that line of work, right? We operate big, heavy equipment. You know, beams can slide off straps. You know, we got guys, obviously, for instance, on your building, right? We have guys 25 feet in the air with a crane operator. And so those are some of the challenges, right? Some of the challenges and the safety things that we have to obviously get better at, be better at, and make sure on certain, you know, it's just, you just can't get complacent in those situations. And I was actually watching I saw a clip the other day. I don't know, Minnesota or wherever it was, but there was a guy, I don't know if you saw it. It was sort of went viral, and it was a guy that was standing up on top of a building and they were setting a steel beam.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, but they went to swing in and that beam slid out. So it just landed right in front of the guy. I mean, it would have killed him, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it just went sort of viral, and it's just those scenarios, right? How many times with Ryan did we lift steel beams for him over there?
Oh, no.
Help him out with the Betty bone, or so those are the things, So it's interesting, it's fun, but it's
never a dull moment.
It's never a dull moment. No.
Which is crazy because, we were talking just briefly about the 7-story mid-rise we want to build out here.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's still kind of up in the air and will we be able to do it, but we pitched it to the city and they bit.
I believe in you.
Yeah. We'll do it.
I believe in you.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We put our mind to it. We'll probably do it. But that's 7 stories up.
Sure.
Two podium parking, right? So 2 stories of podium parking, all concrete, obviously. And then 5 stories above that, all lumber. And I'm sitting there going like, hey, Brad.
You can do it.
That's a whole lot farther of a fall,
yeah.
though, just FYI.
Yeah.
That's a whole different game. But yeah, that's unfortunately, that is the name of the game for you guys,
Sure.
and some of these other trades have just as much risk.
Sure.
And that's the wild part of it. But, there's a reason why you can make some pretty good money. It's just volume, chasing volume, which is what you're doing now.
Which, we're trending towards, and that was the value of when we got connected early on, and knowing sort of what you guys were trying to accomplish and what your visions are. And like you said today, I saw you're just getting started.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I sort of feel like we have a lot in front of us, but we've got to go get it, And so, when we initially had that talk in here before we signed a contract to build that building for you, I thought these guys got it. These are the guys that I want to be around. These are the guys I want to align with. I think these guys have my mindset of how to do things the right way and be professional, still produce.
Yeah.
And,
it means a lot. Thank you, man. Yeah,
100%.
it's I tell people, the private equity side is just a lot of energy. It's a lot of work,
Sure.
and then trying to cater over to now developing projects. That's why you see a lot of private equity. These are suit and tie guys that sit behind the desk. It's a full-time job and enough stress in itself. Now you're bolting on a development, arm. That's like its own problem, So it's a lot of energy. That's why Mike, which is over here on the couch hanging out with us, he kind of took over as from CEO. I stepped aside to focus on business development.
Sure.
but he's helping me on the day to day. But I had to kind of step in on the development side just to kind of keep that energy going and just oversee it so I can be accurate in my reporting, But it's been great because I was talking, fortunately, I was talking on another podcast literally just recently about my mentor that I learned a lot about, just kind of focusing on a craft and sticking with it, and how you can do really well in like one area. So for example, Dan Stevenson, he owns Rancon. He's the guy who built Europa Village winery that we raised capital for. It's on our website and so forth.
I think I met him.
Yeah. He's older guy.
Is that who you introduced me to on at Desert Storm? He said he owned the winery or. Was he? No, I don't think he was here for Desert Storm. No, he was here a couple of years ago for Desert Storm, but not this last year. Which is funny that you brought it up because he was here. Must have been another guy that you introduced me that had a winery and that you knew for years. Right there.
In Temecula?
Yeah.
Who the hell was it? But it was Bill Wilson.
It was Bill Wilson. Older gentleman.
Yeah, Bill Wilson. Yeah, Bill's great. Yeah, Bill's a great guy. So Bill's the funniest guy in the world, man. I learned a lot from him too. So he's got his wife is married to, you may have heard, it's a hedge fund out of Redondo Beach called Wedgwood. And they bought the old NASA buildings and remodeled the NASA buildings. They did like Solar City. Wow. They were the first like big funding group for Solar City that ended up going like Tesla bought them out or what have you. But they would get about $600 million a quarter and start buying distressed assets at auctions and so forth and buying a lot of that. And then they ended up having their own asset management company. Anyways, Bill's sister married into that family. Okay. And they built they're, when I say just a very wealthy outfit, like these guys.
Yeah, you were telling me it was pretty legit.
So, and they're obviously looking at so what they've done is from a private equity structure, just with them, by the way, and I'm going on a tangent here. But and mind you, this is all within the same lane of the group that I was just talking about in my mentor, because wealthy people, first of all, agriculture, you get a lot of tax write-off when you own ag land. Okay. And it's kind of a rich man's hobby is wine making, So when you're around that, you kind of surround yourself around the wealthy. That's why you see where I'm going. I got you. So you learn a lot about how they built their businesses and how they got to where they are. And a lot of these guys, as they're older, they take you under the wing. They look at me as like a son that maybe they never had. And so they're just spending a lot of time with me. Sure. So I've been able to kind of 2 ears in one mouth for a long time.
It's crucial.
It's and I say where I'm very lucky is I've been able to get into those type of rooms. But I also had to be humble enough
around the right people.
Yeah, and stop talking. These guys, sure. they actually have a lot of value, and the only way to get that value and understand it is to let them talk.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, just let them talk. Yeah. So Dan, I actually did a podcast. It was when we first started kind of really pushing the retail opportunity for raising capital, and we were starting to kind of build an awareness for it through social media. I actually did like a webinar with Dan, and Dan, it was really kind of cool how he articulated the mindset of how he started developing in Temecula. So in the 70s, at one time, he was the largest avocado farm owner in all of the U.S.
Wow.
And so what he did, he's very smart. He started buying up all this avocado land and then just entitling it, planting it, tearing it down, designing it, developing it. Yeah. So he did like 10,000 lots, but he was he was starting on the development side. So more like land acquisition, entitlements, planning, selling to builders. And then he started building, but he was really focused on more commercial than residential. So he'd partner with Resi, but he would do all the land improvements. So he really built that. But what happened was he's like, I fell in love with Temecula and Marietta, and there was so much available land and farmland that I knew I didn't need to go anywhere else. And that's kind of where I'm leading this is, Havasu, if you just look at the data and how many people are migrating out here and baby boomers and lifestyle and people's spending habits and healthcare and, all that stuff, it all aligns with where the world's going. And that's Havasu. That's just outside Southern California, 22 million people. This place is becoming more and more well-known. I mean, what's like one of the top destinations for lake life in the country now?
We are on the map.
It's wild how much, from a tourism side, you would never, ever imagine the amount. And what happens is people come out here for the first time, they fall in love with it, and then they start finding a real estate agent and they go buy a house. You're an agent,
I got out here, never left.
There you go. So that's kind of how I am. So. I came out here. I grew up coming out here, and then I really still haven't left. Now I have my son out here. I'm trying to raise a family.
Now you're rooted and getting. It just happens. It's just.
And look at all this land available, man. It is endless what can go on. So for me, I'm going like, well, how big do we want to get? Well, we can get as big as we want, but we just stay focused in one area and we perfect it. We build all, because the one thing I try to tell people is and this is something that not only have not I knew about it, but I didn't know how important it was until probably this stage in my career. When you establish a relationship with the city and you understand your sub base and you're building all these relationships with the groups that are actually going to get this approved and built, you don't want to go anywhere else because it's so much time and energy
100%.
and relationship building. And it's like the same thing. You want to make sure when you bill me, you want to make sure, is this guy going to pay me for the first time?
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to go through that. You have
Sure.
to prove you're on both sides.
Right.
And that's a lot of time and energy and spending with time. So it's like, if we were to go to outside that, we got to do that again.
I agree 100%.
You know?
I see it. I know right where you're going.
Yeah. So,
it takes work. It takes time. It takes energy to get, just sort of align with all these different facets of it.
Totally. And one of the cool things I did was, as we have started scaling, because now we're at a point where we're raising more capital and now we're going, okay, we need to go find more land, right? We have a brand. I think we've kind of figured out our lane. Let's go 100 miles an hour.
Sure.
And so when I went to Nick and I went to Aaron, I said, hey, you guys want to go get multi-state licenses and travel with me? And they're like, let's do it. Well, that changed the landscape for me because now when I go raise capital with like a family office or what have you, I go, well, look, not only do I have my sub base aligned and they're going to go out there and travel for me, now they're looking at you as a real outfit. Now I can go anywhere and start developing. And that is really takes the risk, a lot of the risk off the plate.
Sure.
And that is where I think I want people to understand relationships are 100% the most important thing in business. And then the second is leadership down to your employee base, So when you're like I would consider you and I on an executive team, right? So if you and I start spending more time together, which I want to do like a mastermind for all of us guys that are, business owners.
Sure.
And just spend more time together and talk about all the problems that we all have.
Yeah.
And when you tell me your problems, I'm like, well, I don't want your problems. My problems aren't so bad, vice versa.
Yeah.
But those are the things that I want to continue to kind of to bring to the table. But what happens is like, I may have some fruit for you that you can implement into growing your business and vice versa. Right. And when you really are able to, the business will grow when you have established an executive team, a group of people that won't leave. They're well paid. They're taken care of. They love what they're doing. They are bought in. They're part of the family now. Right. And that's when the company will actually turn over. And that's where the growth will actually happen. So it starts from the top, So that's what I saw in you. And I know it sounds really weird, but I'm not necessarily interviewing your ability to perform necessarily just from a conversation. It's who you are when we engage. I feel that I have enough life experience now to go, he's got the leadership skills to be able to keep his team together. Because that's what it comes to, especially when it comes to construction.
Sure.
And out here,
In the middle of summer.
In the middle of which is a whole nother, dude. I mean, last year we had a guy, people pass out all the time. I mean, it's bad when it's hot out here.
I got a good story for that one. 1 year, two, 3 years, probably about 2 years ago. I had a guy. He was a bigger guy, right? Mm-hmm. But was an experienced guy and wanted to come on board. And I says, yeah, absolutely, come on. And so middle of the summer. And I get a call, and guy's name Cody or something. I don't even remember. He didn't work for me long, but hey, Cody's down on the ground. He can't get cooled off. We don't know what's going on. Okay, like I'll be over there. I'll run over. So I go over there. This guy's down to his chonies, literally on the back porch of this customer's house. Under a hose bib.
Struggling.
Yeah, it was bad. Mm-hmm. It was bad. And so those are the things we deal with sometimes.
It's not like the water's coming out cooler.
No,
let's be honest, the water comes out hot.
Like, guys, I thought he was just struggling a little bit. I'm like, this is not good. Like we need to get this situated. So we got him to the, ran him to the ER and just had him cool down. And anyway, it's like, yeah.
We had one of our on the teams that are going vertical on all of our by the way, I always say the erection team, but when I say that, people are like, they think erection. I'm like, no, it's erection for construction.
Oh, yeah, that's us.
don't overthink this, okay? There's no blue pill involved, okay? That's what you say out here. So I'm like changing the way I talk nowadays. I'm like, no, it's the team that goes vertical on my steel buildings. No, they're like, oh, your erection team. I'm like, don't say that too loud because people don't understand what that means. But anyway, so one of the guys, one of the laborers on that crew, apparently, and I didn't find out until later, but I guess he was just throwing up. He kept wanting to work. And we're like, hey, shut it down. Let's just send out an email to everybody, shut it down. So come to find out, the guy had like brain surgery like 2 months prior. And we're like, dude, this could be a whole lot worse. Like, so we ended up kind of keeping an eye on him, and we have cameras. And I think I just kind of felt bad for the guy. And I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm sure he had to work and he had to make money. He's got a family.
Yeah.
I get it, but I started watching him from my camera a couple times a day, just seeing how he was doing, and he was doing fine, but we sent him home for a couple of days going, hey.
Yeah, so all of my foremen have the authority. They don't need to call me. All of my foremen have the authority to
let people go. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. As far as if it's too hot, you don't need to call me. You guys are smart enough. You guys are professionals. You guys are the leader on the crew that day. If it's not working and it's just call it.
Who's the guy that you have on your crew? White guy. I think he's got a little longer hair, white hair, but he's always got his shirt off.
So that was Robbie.
He's awesome.
He no longer works for us.
Oh, no. He was so cool, dude. That dude works a lot. Well, what happened, man? Why you got to?
So
your leadership skills suck. I'm kidding. Not everyone works out.
So it's funny. He refers to him as the guy that doesn't wear a shirt. He doesn't work for me anymore because he doesn't wear a shirt.
Are you serious?
Well, it gets worse than that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we were on the Swanson Apartments.
Yeah.
And ownership drove by, or somebody drove by and mentioned to the on-site super, hey, go let the foreman know to have that guy put a shirt on.
Yeah.
I don't personally like it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it's professional.
Yeah.
I had one guy out of 22 guys or 21, whatever we have right now. I got one guy that would not wear a shirt. Yeah. And it was him. So I never was a fan anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, my foreman calls me and says, hey, Robbie, needs to put a shirt on. He's giving me a hard time. I'm like, well, send him home. Like, what do you want me to do? I got I got ownership letting super know, you're calling me. I'm like, tell him to put his shirt on and get in his truck and go. So he calls me and wanting to go. I've got multiple projects going on. So right now we're running 3 crews.
Yeah.
So he says, can I go down to the other job? And I says, no. I said, you need to take the rest of the day off because it sort of got a little shitty with the way he was treating my foreman and over the situation, not just put your shirt on, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. We'll address it later. Just put your shirt on.
Try to do it right. Yeah.
So, that's what happened. That's what happened.
Hey, man,
dude.
and you know what?
And we just talked about how hard it is to get labor and how hard. That's a 10-year guy.
Yeah.
That's a 10-year guy that knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the values, that standard that we hold is more important than that guy showing up to work every day, knowing what he's doing.
Well, so there's
and that's sort of, I think that's what separates us, and that's what differentiates us to the next group, right?
Yep.
Because those little things that could be little to somebody, it's not to me.
Oh, dude, I talk about it all the time. I'll hire people with great resumes, but if they don't fit the culture and they don't fall in line, it's just the way it goes. It's not trying to be mean, but it doesn't fit the culture. It's toxic. It's not healthy. You're not adding. You need to be a leader in your own world. Like help others, do the right thing, be a leader.
Be a teammate.
Everyone, be a team player.
Help your guys. Keep an eye on your guys. It's 100%. Midsummer. All those things, right? And so there was some of that. It was all about. I can't have a guy all about him, right? We're on a team, and to deliver at the highest level, we have to play as a team. And I relate that to my sports career. Like, we got to be a team.
Mm-hmm.
No, and if you're not, it's not the right fit.
You got to, people have to be fully bought in. Yeah. That's just the way it goes. And that's good. It sucks because I don't think a lot of people talk about it as far as how hard it is to be an owner of a company.
That's a grind.
It's hard, man. It's really, really hard. And those are the things that you have to continue to hold that standard. And even though you can maybe love somebody and be real close to them, you're like, dude, like, you're taking the relationship for granted. I'm watching over the business for your security instrument too of income. But if you don't fall in line, I can't guarantee, you're going to get paid by me. Right. That's just the way it goes. So not trying to be mean, but I have to deal with a different way of the worldly views, and I have to deal with certain compliance. I have to deal with you have to just trust my leadership. And if you don't, then I need you to go because you're putting me at risk and my other parts of the team. And it's hard, but that's what I know. Tony Robbins,
you said it great right there. I mean, that's it. I mean, and that's as the owner, right? That's what you're looking at. Like, this guy is letting my guys know. This guy's got to put it, like, No, there's no exception here.
And,
Like,
and
you don't
regardless if
get
he's
it.
been with you for 10 years just because you are been with me for so long does not mean you have seniority of just,
Well, he hadn't been with me for 10 years, but he was like a 10-year guy, right?
Yeah, he's
10
got
years,
experience.
good experienced guy. Because
Yeah.
some of these guys we're bringing on and we're taking under our wings and training them and
Oh, yeah.
putting the legwork in, and that takes time, right? To get a guy to where we need to get them. And, if you can get a guy that's not green, it surely makes your day-to-day operations a little better, right?
For sure.
And so, but yeah, that's the importance of those things, and I think it should be talked about because there is a standard there, and a lot of those guys don't see what we have to see on our side of it. To see like, no, you don't get it. Yeah. You're not looking at this the right way here.
Yeah.
So,
we're going, hey, do you want more business and not have to worry about the income?
Right.
Because if you
want to make sure you get 40 hours a week and food on your table at the pay you're making, I'm paying you pretty damn well. Right? Like, this is what has to happen. You got to put your shirt on.
Yeah. Well,
if you can't understand that, then I can't help you. And so
I don't know, this was a while ago, but I was going to get my pilot's license, right? And my pilot.
I want to do that.
Oh, it's great, dude. It's this, when you get up there,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah. But I remember
another podcast.
Perfect. When I was going after my pilot's license, I remember I learned from a guy that I still very much look up to. He was a stud. In fact, he, I don't know, 30,000 hours in commercial, flew for Virgin, got bought out for whatever it was. And then he's flying back and forth to Hawaii all the time. But he used to fly for Citation when Citation would have new planes. This guy's a nut. So basically, they'll give you an idea who I learned from. But this guy, he would take Citation airplanes, the new ones, and he'd fly them over the ocean until something would break. And then he would fix it in the air or whatever would go wrong. And then he would go and land the plane. And so he wrote like a lot of the checklist book for Citation. So the guy's like way into this game. Yeah. So I learned from this guy. So what I loved about learning from a guy like that is he said, the reason why there's a checklist is because someone died.
Sure.
Go check the tires. Yeah. Go check the lines of the plane. Go check props. Go check this. The reason why you need to check that is because at some point someone died. And it's now a new standard. It's to protect people. So it's like, I tell people, I'm like, I wish I could just fly by the seat of my pants and I didn't have to create all these standards. And that means you'd like me more if I didn't have standards, but there's a reason why those standards exist. It's for safety. It's for business. There's compliance. So just look at it that way. That means like when you push back, someone died because you're pushing back, which means you could die too. Like there's a reason why things exist. So
sure.
And that's where I think a lot of people, they just want, they have a hard time. I say this respectfully. People have a hard time thinking outside the box of not being sheep.
Sure.
Some people just want that path of least resistance and they're not willing to grow and they don't care. They just, and
they're working on their paycheck rather than working on the job.
Yeah.
Focused, dialed in.
Dude,
right?
yeah. They're chasing that paycheck, man. And when you're in I would personally think in an industry like yours, when it's so dangerous, you need to be focused.
Sure.
And
you have to be. Yeah.
The paycheck will come, deliverance to stay alive and go home. Same thing like police officers. Police officers go, they put their money, put their life at risk every single day and they go home. So when they're at work, you got to be focused, make sure you're watching surroundings kind of thing. So I think a lot of people that's why I wanted to bring you on here, because I think a lot of people don't understand when you look at, these trades, how much goes into this and really how smart you have to be. Now, a lot of this stuff, I mean, you got an engineering mind. I mean, you can't do what you're doing, especially with that building, without having kind of an engineering mind. It takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of time, a lot of experience, and there's no substitute for experience,
No.
And, before we go too far onto another tangent, I want to talk to you about the quality of the building. So obviously you've done tons of this stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you think this is one of the best buildings like in the city or what?
I mean,
man?
it is top notch. Yeah. And I said from the beginning, when I saw the plans, I told Dennis when I saw the plans, I'm like, dude, I cannot wait to see this when this thing's done, and as it all came together with some of the different architectural features and the structural side of that thing's gnarly, right?
Oh, dude, it's out of control.
The structural side of that building is on another level. You obviously can see all the structural beams going through that thing, but even the architectural side, and then starting to see sort of some of the posts of what you're going to do in it. And I mean, there's going to be nothing like it.
There's nothing
Period.
Like it. Well, I had a guy too. So
there's going to be nothing like it.
I had a guy in 4th of July call me. He's from Miami and go, hey man, I want to come out and see all the stuff that you have going on. So he comes out for 4th of July and I walk him through the building. He goes, can you build the same building for me just outside Miami? I'm like, you bet. and he's not a dumb guy. This guy's very smart, does very well. And he's like, hey, I don't do real estate, but like, this is one of the coolest buildings in the world, man. I've never seen anything like, especially what you're doing inside. He's like, can you build this same building for me? He's like, just tell me what the numbers are going to be so I can go do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%. The building is off the charts. And I think once it's all said and done with some of the ideas, and this is going to be crazy. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
You said you had a turf company. And I'm like, man, I need to put a golf. I think we're doing like a little 3-putt, like, miniature golf thing around the back.
We got you.
Yeah. So we're going to do all that. I mean,
that's Havasu Turf Pros.
Okay. Perfect.
Havasu Turf
Good
Pros
to know.
on Kiowa.
Cool. Yeah, I know exactly where you're at then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then, so that, then we, I was talking to Dennis today, you know where they're pulling all the electrical line in from the street. We just had to redo some of the wall, and you saw the big
right
amount
out
of
front
dirt.
there.
Yeah, out front.
Yeah.
That whole thing, we're going to have turf there too. And then we're going to have like kind of an outdoor living space. And I went to, we have a catch basin that's
you have it designed already?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have an idea, not an actual full design.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But, we're going to have like a whole outdoor living space there. I have heaters down to coolers to, the whole thing, man.
And
misters, everything. Yeah.
We'll
and then
get it all set up.
Dude. And then, I need that. And then obviously you can walk all the way around the building. And then we started thinking about doing like a humidor for a cigar lounge in there. So I sit there I look at Dennis, he's like, change orders. I'm like, no, there's no change orders, dude. Let's not talk about change orders. He's like, well, dude, what do you think we're going to do? I'm like, well, we're going to do it right here. We'll be fine. He's like, okay, goodness gracious.
Sky's the limit.
No, sky's the limit. So
sky's the limit.
And now that it's up, we've had a great idea on what we're going to do as far as how we're going to occupy it.
Sure.
But we've made some adjustments. So right above, and you already know this more than anybody else would because you framed the thing, but right above where the golf simulators are, we obviously got that extra space for the race simulators. And then we're going to put the CYC like backdrop where you can do like professional photos and all that.
Okay, that's what that was. I saw the post today that Joe was doing over there. Mm-hmm. So that backdrop is more related to pictures and different things. So I wasn't sure what it was.
Here, I'll show you real quick.
Yeah.
So Joe, can you pull a CYC up real quick? Well, I keep talking so he can see it. So do you know? So if you're I call it the shop. You're in the shop.
Yeah.
And then
I know where guys were looking at right there on the wall, the sheer wall that we put the headouts in for the AC guys.
Yes, right there.
Yeah.
So right underneath that, it's about 10 feet or so.
Yeah.
We're going to do a whole entire CYC backdrop there.
What is CYC?
What does it stand for, bro?
What is that?
It's like caption something. So it's designed for like movies. So you could literally show, it's like almost like a green screen.
Look right here.
There you go. There it is right there.
Oh, gotcha.
So invisible edge, all that stuff makes it photos, filming, video.
You need something framed there, or is that all?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna need. Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna need. We're just talking about it. There's right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want to be able to do it in a way where we can move it. So we went and saw Ryan together.
Yeah.
And Ryan's just going to throw some steel in there and throw some wheels on it, and then something you can push on it and it'll drop, and it's just like a little lever and it pushes back up and you put it on wheels. We just want to be able to move it around a little bit. Yeah. So just like that looked like, I don't think that's permanent as far as, bolted to the ground.
What's going under the rear mezzanine?
So that's where, so we're going to we just figured out so I was going to put like a WeWork office space there, but we're going to do a full blown enclosed wine, like cellar there with wine.
Okay. So you are going to enclose it.
Yeah, we are going to enclose it. We're going to have like wine lockers there.
Okay.
Because first of all, I'm still tied to Europa Village and all the wineries. I'm a wine nerd. I love wine. But it's classy, and that's the clientele that I'm going to bring into this space. So we're going to have all that, and then we're going to have like a whole nother lounge just for that. So, and it's going to be enclosed. So if you want it, let's say you had a really good friend of yours or family members or something in town, you can go in there and you'll have a key fob. So this is a membership private venue completely, but you can go in there, you can grab your wine, you guys can pop up wine, hang out, what have you, throw the dishes in the sink. And then we have, I have a someone who'll come in and clean everything, but yeah, we're going to have a whole wine cellar there and then wine lockers. Yeah. And all that there. So, because, I was looking at it, I'm like, it's not very high. So there's not much I can do. Was it like 9 feet?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 9 foot plate through there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not much. So I'm like, but it would be perfect for this.
9 foot will be fine for that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
And so, and then right above it, we're going to do offices and like more of that WeWork side there, because we know people are going to want to just kind of go and get away and, be quiet. If they come into town, they can kind of get away.
Are you keeping the office space in there mostly for internal network.
Pretty much.
Like,
Believe it or not. So, like, for example, my architect wants to open up a space out here as well. So, and he's a private equity guy, and he remodeled the Pentagon. He's a pretty well-known guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey man, we're pretty much partnering, if you will. We're getting to a point where, obviously with the barn caves, he knows that we're trying to go nationwide with this thing. We're hoping to, right now we're working with JP Morgan. They're going to issue us a term sheet, but they're talking up to 300 million. And so I don't want to go too far on a tangent on this podcast, but what's happening is we're getting to a point where our network is seeing what we're doing and going, hey, we want to help you get there because it's helping us. So we want to sublease from you, or we want to have a basic brick and mortar there, and we want to open up, another division there. So it's getting to a point where our brand is really attracting those quality people.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is we're going to have what we call a family office network. And ultimately a family office, think of like, and this is what I kind of tell people in passing is, a lot of high net worth clients, it's the Wall Street moving to Main Street. It's hard. People don't trust, big pharma anymore. People don't trust Wall Street anymore.
No.
Politics are just making all kinds of messes in regards to investments and public companies. So even though stocks are doing really well and so forth, a lot of people at this point in their life, they rather control their money, and their wealth managers that they're working with, whether it's Charles Schwab or Fidelity or whatever company, they're just not managing their money well, right? They're just, all they care about as far as those wealth managers is how much money they have under management, assets under management. And they're just getting their fee, and they're making their $2 million a year. And they're just going to lie to you to keep your money, under management. So what's happening is these families, these clients are going, I'm going to go back to managing my money.
Just with regular people.
Regular people. And I'm going to do it in a way that I know. And I'm going to go into real estate. And so when you look at the people out here that are downsizing, they care about their lifestyle. They're focusing on taxes, and health and wellness is a big deal. Because as you get older, and you're probably doing the same, I'm spending more money on my health and wellness as I get older. And it's the same thing for anybody else. So that's what's happening out here. So what we've created is like, hey guys, look, we're waving our hand. Our model is we raise capital, we build real estate, we separate it, we make money, right? We all go out and that's what we do. So most boomers have made most of their wealth in real estate, right? They've had companies, but when they go to sell all their assets, they realize, well, shoot, we actually had a lot more equity in our real estate than we thought. So people are more comfortable with real estate. So ultimately what we're saying is like, hey, we want to be that real estate division. We have debt and equity. We're diversified. We're not just in Havasu, but we have places that, right? So that's kind of what we're creating a vehicle for these people to see that they can get involved in what we're doing. And we just kind of have our thumb on the pulse. Yeah. Right. So this is and this is for business owners. These are going to be for business owners, people that are trying to scale their business. They want to network. They know that they need to get in the right room with the right people. You probably have seen all this. Like, you can go to any of these networking groups across the country, but you really don't know who's inside that room. So like, I've traveled all over the world. You probably have seen some of the stuff. I've been in Dubai, Singapore, and and those are the family office networks. So the problem with that is that you can pay money to be a part of that network, but you don't know who's operating that network. And are those people in that room the real deal? Or are they all just looking for the same thing I am? There's no point to get in a room if they're all looking for the same thing I am. I want to be in a room where they're looking for me, you know? So what I'm doing is I'm getting involved with every person who's becoming a part of that venue, right? And when we vet them and find out their net worth, what they're trying to accomplish to be a part of the venue, what do you do for a living, and what do you want to accomplish by being a part of this? And then what we're doing is we're saying, oh, cool, these are the people that we have in our network. We want to introduce you. And we're hoping that people just start doing more business together, and they grow their businesses together. So really it's a massive network of people that are all trying to grow their businesses, and they're the real deal because we're vetting them and we're making sure that they're real. And that's what we're ultimately doing. So we're trying to add value. So like for you, do you know how many builders come across my desk? Guys out here all the time going, hey, or they come to me for capital, right? And they're like, hey man, I need an electrician, or hey, I need someone who does framing. I'm like, I got you. Like, it's just, that's what most people come to me for, is those resources. So if I can provide resources to my network for them to scale and grow their business, I become everyone's favorite person. And then my business just grows organically. So it's like, if I can add value to these people, I know that we're going to do well as a firm. And that's really what this brand is, and that headquarters is. So,
and I like the personal touch on it, like the have the control of that network.
Yeah, for sure.
To where when you get into that corporate world, it just gets crazy. And like you said, you don't know who you're dealing, and so it makes a lot more sense to me with what you're doing with the building and sort of what the family office society is now. that explanation.
And
you
it's
know?
the
So
lifestyle.
it's
It's a lifestyle. You got golf simulators and they kind of get away when it's hot. You can get away from the riffraff. You have your wife or maybe your kids. You don't really want to go party and get drunk. You can go out over there and kind of be classy. Yeah.
It's not for me. So.
But most of my groups are not. You know, I did all that already.
Yeah,
So did all my network. We all did all that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, of course.
If you've come to Havasu, that's what you used to do back in the day, you know? I even think the Girls Gone Wild TV show was like filmed out here. You know, I think it started out here. You know, but
MTV Cribs.
Right, totally. And so I think now people are just at a point where like if they had more venues to go to with that type of polish, and that's what is missing out here. We have it.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's exclusive.
Yeah.
And when you go in there, you're amongst friends, and everyone spent money to get in his room.
Yeah.
And so people will respect the space too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
awesome.
It's like you are who you hang out with. Right. I'm building a network of people that are all doing the same thing I am. That's really it in a nutshell.
My favorite saying is if you hang out at the barbershop long enough,
you're going to get a haircut. That's right. I went to the barbershop. I hope I look good today. I'm going to get a haircut today.
Mine was 2 days ago.
Just for this.
Mine was 2 days ago.
I love it.
You know, so. Yeah.
Well, Brad, is there anything else you want people to know about you? And if so, please share it. And if not, then how can people get a hold of you?
So you can reach out to me directly.
Whether it's website, phone number.
Yeah, website, www.devettedevelopment.com.
How do you spell DeVette?
DEV as in Victor, ETT.
Perfect.
So it's www.devettedevelopment.com.
Perfect.
There's a link on there. You can reach out that way. You can call me, text me directly.
What's your phone number?
928-566-7010.
Perfect, man. Well, thank you very much for coming, buddy.
Yeah,
I want everybody to know who you are because I've really built a personal friendship with you. And you said, hey, we'll perform and we'll deliver. And you did, and I want you to know I really appreciate it. So the thing I can do to give back to you is not only pay my bills, but to tell everybody in the world about you.
Thank you so much.
And you're slaying it. You're doing all the apartments out here. I mean, you're basically the biggest framing contractor here.
I'm happy we aligned, and I'm excited for the future. I really am. So.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming, buddy. I really appreciate it. On to the next, guys. Thanks for listening.